Hello and welcome to today's episode of Sleep Well, Live Well. It's a free online education series that we are running throughout October and November. So this is the second to last one. And today we're joined by Suzanne Butler from Harmonizing Energies with Feng Shui. And Suzanne's going to be talking to us all about how to create the perfect bedroom space. Now, Suzanne has been featured on our podcast and also at the expo, and she's the second biggest downloads of our podcast actually, and had some great feedback from the expo, which is why she's here tonight, because she's got some great information to share with people. And a lot of the mistakes that we're making, we're just not aware of. And these simple things can help us to get a better night's sleep, which is going to help us in all aspects of our life. Because if we fix our sleep, we fix everything else. It affects so much of our daily lives. It's super important. So I'm going to hand over to Suzanne, and at the end of her presentation, she's going to open up for some question and answers as well. So if you get any questions throughout, feel free to either pop them in the chat or make a note, and we will get back to them, and you will have your questions answered tonight. So hello, Susan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me again. I loved doing the expo, and as I said to you, it was better, an expo that was better than Mind, Body, Spirit. So if anyone is watching this back and is an exhibitor or wants to exhibit it, then I would certainly look at doing Prestige next year because it was worth. I got more response and more value out of one day in that than what I did for three at Mind, Body, Spirit. So just a heads up from anyone that is looking to get their name out to definitely do that next year.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. So I'm going to run through the presentation that I did do at the expo. Um, we can take a bit longer because we're not as pushed for time. And at the end, I'm going to show you some photos that I personally took at some display homes that I visited the other week, where my eye was really twitching when I walked into them because they were so poorly planned and so poorly decorated that I could just see what problems people would have living in those rooms. So we'll start with the presentation. But as Holly said, please do ask any questions and I can answer them at the end or through the presentation. All right, so your bedroom, creating a space for love, sleep, and relaxation. So the do's and don'ts in bedroom, this is sort of why we'll be talking about tonight. Do's and don'ts, why your kids won't stay in bed, what intimacy may have left the building, how to create a balanced room that everyone is happy with, how parts of the home affect members of the family. So my name is Suzanne. I am a certified Flying Stars Feng Shui practitioner. I have been practicing in my business for 4 years, and I have been working with Feng Shui for a number of years personally and achieved amazing results from it, which is why I became certified in the first place. I work a lot with families wishing to create harmony and flow in their lives, and this includes a lot of families with kids that might be neurodivergent. This stuff is super important for families uh, that are living that life where there might be particular difficulties that are coming up against, and it's incredible the difference, especially in their bedrooms when we get it right, the difference it makes their sleep and behavior. So let's get started. So color. So children in particular are constantly highly stimulated by color. We see it everywhere, whether it's their clothes, whether it's their toys, whether it's their bedding. Um, it's constant and it can have an effect on their life. So what are some of the symptoms of color being a problem? So we have five elements with feng shui. We have fire, water, earth, wood, and metal. And for the most part, a lot of girls' rooms will be painted in or full of things that are bright pink. Bright pink is a fire color. So if you have kids that are anxious, that don't sleep very well, that do get highly stimulated, then the color is potentially causing a lot of the problem. So instead of going for these type of colors, go towards the muted. Muted when they're a pastel type color, It's actually more of a metal, which is quite balancing. So you won't have the highs and lows of emotions with the fire colors. You'll get more of a balanced, better sleep using those. So please, no feature walls with like magenta or bright pinks. If they're a fan of Barbie, put the toys away, make sure they're not in the room, that they can't that the energy is not circulating in the room. Use the wardrobe if possible, and just keep things quite neutral and muted in the bedroom so that they are getting the sleep they are needing, whether they want to stay in bed, and so they're getting refreshed and ready for school the next day. And similarly for blue for boys, especially when boys become teenagers, well, I mean, all teenagers never come out of their bedrooms anyway, but um, when teenage boys are in their rooms, they're in there for study, they're gaming, they're sitting in the dark anyway, because 10 times, 10 out of 10 times their um, blinds will be drawn, so they'll be sitting in the dark. Blue is an emotional color. When someone is feeling depressed, we'll say, "Are you feeling blue?" We have a mental health organization called Beyond Blue. So it can have a dramatic effect on emotions. It's a watercolor. So it's same color as tears. If your child is suffering some from mental health, please, like dark blues and like dark grays, anything that's so a bit moody. Don't paint the walls in those colors. Try and refrain from putting dark blue linen sets in there as well. Keep things light and fresh. So similar to the muted, the grays, would be a better option than this. So for example, I did a call with a client the other week in the US, and I saw the colors of her husband. They were having money problems in their business and not converting clients. And in the past, they've been really, really good, 20, $30,000 months, and it was starting to really dry up. And when I say dry up, I mean dry up. And I said, "Can you give me your address and I will have a look at the house to see some photos if I can work out what might be going wrong." Now, her husband his office was in their basement, which is not dark and dingy. It was like an American basement, which is still quite light. It was just downstairs. Um, and the entire room was navy blue. And I said, "Has this been a problem since you moved in here?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Is this where he does all his sales calls?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Get him out of that room. Get him up into the kitchen." I would never recommend anyone work in the kitchen, but get him up out of the kitchen, out of the basement into the kitchen where there's no blue. I said, "This would be making him feel down. It will enhance his emotions, and it would be actually creating a barrier for him to do good sales calls." So I haven't heard back, but she's still been quite active, and I think things have turned around a little bit for them. The house wasn't good anyway, but there was a few less problems moving them out. So it really does have an effect on emotions and mood and how you're feeling about yourself. So when it comes to master bedroom, also the colors should be muted and neutral. So think of a hotel room. We all love going to really fancy hotels, and for the most part, none of them would be colored red or have very leery designs. They're relaxing spaces. They've got beautiful linens. They haven't got anything that's over the top in them. Um, so we want to bring that into the master bedroom as well. Now, while red is the color for passion also, um, I'm not sure about you, but a bedroom like this just screams um, below. I won't say the word I was going to say. A lady of the night. That was what I would suggest. It's not a place for romance. It's more so of just one-off type arrangement. So you can have red in the bedroom, but just keep it to a minimum. So the other effect of red that can have in the bedroom is arguments, anxiety, lack of sleep. So unless I would prescribe someone in their report to put fire in the bedroom, just try and keep it to an absolute minimum. Bed placement. So yeah, this is another one, and I'll show you in other photos from these display homes why things weren't great. But it's rare for us to be able to get a bed in the best position 100% of the time. So we work with what we've got. Some old houses have not got many walls to play with. A lot of, they'll have windows everywhere, or they'll have air cons, or they have wardrobes. So we're quite limited sometimes with what we can place. But for the most part, you'll have at least one or two walls that you can put a bed against. So in this particular picture, I would never place a child's bed like this. Couple of reasons. It's like they're in an island. They have zero support here. This is especially important for kids that have got like an autistic or neurodivergent, because they've got no support. They feel like they're in a floating island. In this instance, I would turn this bed around and have the headboard on this wall up here, move the wardrobe so that they've got the wall that they can get the support from. This one, it has got the bedside table, which is great. But also for effect of the bedroom, you're taking up so much room with the bed sitting there. There's no room for them to play. So practically move the bed so that it gives you the most floor space possible so that they can actually use their bedroom for what they want it for. So basic rule of thumb is you want a solid headboard against a solid wall. Like this is okay, isn't there's a window there. When I say solid wall, I mean you don't want the bed here against the window. You don't want anything above the bed, including an air conditioner or artwork. The reason for this, I'll go into this shortly, but the reason for this, it creates something that's hanging over you, like an energy that's actually hanging over you. For adult rooms or for master bedrooms, matching bedsides and lamps. And you want enough room around the bed so you can both enter. So don't push the bed up into the corner. That causes a disparity in a relationship, which obviously can create marital problems. So this bedroom was set up for one of my client's sons. He had never he lived in this house the majority of his life since he was a baby, and he was not a sleeper. He did not like to sleep. And as soon as I walked into this room, I could see why. So they actually needed metal remedy in this room. So having that big red curtain was not helping him. But where his head was, he had the bulkhead pressing down on him. He had the air conditioner pressing down on him. And this was not his best position for sleep. So everybody has, again, I'll go into this in a minute as well. Everyone has a trigram for their best position to be able to sleep. And this was not it for him. So what we did is we removed the red curtain, we turned the bed around so his head was against the solid wall. And this, in fact, was his best position for sleep. Now, this child, like for most teenage kids, don't touch my room. I don't want anything. I don't believe in anything you're doing. Argued the entire process. As soon as we moved the bed, he slept through the night. And she could not get him out of his bedroom. He actually wanted to be in there. So it made a massive difference to this family. He was sleeping. He wasn't sleeping in till all hours. He wasn't up gaming. It was a much better situation for him. And to this day, so this is 2 years ago now we did this. To this day, he's still sleeping very, very well. So the rules I've spoken. These are the rules I'm talking about with kids with neurodivergent. You would never put this. This is actually a door. It's not just a window. You would never put a bed against a window like that or door like that. Everything's on an angle. And that causes negative energies as well. So we wouldn't do that. I would place this bed where the wardrobe is. And this bed here is actually a lot better. So you can see it's not taking as much room up in the room. It's got its bedside table. The only thing I wouldn't do in this is I prefer people who didn't have metal beds. Solid timber like this one would be a better option. It's just a better energetically, a better solution. But this is a great, there's nothing above the head. There's nothing, the bed's giving it support. It's in the corner. This child is going to sleep very well. So recap. Where possible, place beds on a solid wall. Timber bed over a metal bed. If your kids have bunk beds and they're not sharing a room, they really should sleep on the bottom bunk. Sleeping on the top bunk, they're so close to the ceiling, it is causing dramatic pressure pushing down on them. So I would always recommend that they sleep on the bottom bunk. Um, if possible, do not have the bed with the door alongside with the heads of positioned. So what do I mean by that? I would mean that that the door was here. Um, because the energy would be coming straight through the door and smacking them in the head while they're sleeping. To remedy that, we would put something quite large and heavy in between. So maybe a bookcase in the like between the bed entry and the bed, just to slow down that energy. Um, if it's not possible, yeah, so put a bedside table placed next to the bed to take the brunt of the energy flying in. And then no artwork and or no air conditioners above the head. So if you are going to install an AC, then install it into a corner. Don't put it in the middle of the room. So from my personal experience, my own bedroom that I sleep in, my bed is not in the position it should be. And the reason for that is that they installed an AC direct in the middle of the wall, which is fine, but I moved in and for 3 weeks I did not sleep. So I would highly recommend I turned the bed around, and as soon as I did that, I started sleeping. So it's not this is I'm not just talking about this. This is actual a lot of the stuff I do, I test and measure for myself, the stuff I prove for myself. So please, nothing above the head. It can create problems later. Okay, toys and artwork. Um, so toys and artwork in a kid's room in particular are two of the biggest things that take up space in their bedrooms. I don't expect you to throw it all out. That might cause even more angst for them, but there are ways for us to prevent it becoming a massive issue, which then rolls on to them wanting to be in their bedroom, being comfortable in their bedroom. So before birthdays and Christmas, so this time of year, I'm actually running a 5-day challenge in the next week about getting your house ready for Christmas. And this is a massive part of it. So before Christmas and birthdays, make it a habit to get your kids to go through their own toys and let go of things that they no longer play with that they've grown out of. This is super important for smaller children as things accumulate so quickly. Um, I would also recommend like just doing a mental calculation of how many gifts they're getting. How much room do you actually need for those gifts to go back in their room after Christmas? Because you do not want to be on Boxing Day trying to put all these presents away and have no room. It just creates more clutter. So take the opportunity now to start decluttering their bedrooms, going through all the toys, donating toys that are still serviceable to other children in need. It's obviously then teaching them a good lesson about moving things on and sharing is caring. So with school artwork, because this comes in thick and fast when they're in primary school, especially, if they want to display it on the fridge, bring them to understanding that it's one piece at a time. So if they bring home an art project every Friday, that piece goes on the fridge. And then the following Friday, that comes off the fridge and it goes in a special box. It's their choice if they want to keep it or get rid of it. This then starts teaching them about decluttering and keeping important things. So same with certificates that they get from sporting events. They get one certificate every week for, best player, or all the kids get one every week. It's always got the McDonald's or the Zarraffa's voucher on the bottom, you know, one at a time. Once that one's done, the next one comes in, the other one's taken off, just to stop the clutter accumulating around your house as well. So special items you could pop in a frame in their bedroom and change them out regularly. You could get a really nice frame and then easy changing them out. Or you could give your children a memento box, special box that you can get from Kmart if you wanted to. Get them to decorate it, put their name on it, and all their important things go in it, like certificates, medals, any good art that they really love doing, and then things that they collect on your travels. This box they can go through at their leisure to look at its contents. And it's up to them. If the box is getting full, things have to go. So then they have to start making decisions about what's actually important to them. We know, as I say, we're coming up to Christmas. If your kids are particularly small and the big butcher's papers of the one piece of paint is coming home, and you've done oh, that's so wonderful with them, use it as wrapping paper. Your kids are going to have parties, they start going to wrap the presents up in their artwork. So then you're not actually throwing it out. Or for the grandparents. I'm sure they'd love it for Christmas. Photos. So this is a really interesting one. Art imitates life. So if you have got teens and they start acting up and reverting back to childlike behavior, like they're 3, have a look at the artwork you have around your home. And if you've only got images of them when they were very little, when they were actually acting that way, take them down for a while and put new ones up of them at this age. Go and get some new family photos done and put up new photos of them and just see if that sort of eliminates that energy, because they will start imitating. That's all they can see. That's how they'll start behaving. So yeah, just test and measure and see if that actually works for you. Family photos, where possible, should go in the east of your home. Create yourself a gallery wall if you can, or in the entryway. If you're wanting some advice, I do have a free Facebook group that you can join. Trigrams. So as I was saying before, everyone has 4 actual trigrams that they can are their best positions, and this is best positions for eating, for sleeping, for work, and for relaxing. So there's 8 trigrams. We don't have a trigram 5. Each has a different element, a different symbol, different essence colors, and then colors that feed you. So these colors here are colors you would wear to an interview, or colors you would have as a purse or a handbag. And these are elements that deplete you. So wood and earth in this particular case, so greens and browns would not be beneficial for this person. It tells you what your qualities are. So similar to your astrology, you know, what star sign you are. Potential career options. And this is really quite amusing when I do people's trigrams and it's smack on for what they actually do for a living. And then you have the 4 directions. So southeast is the best direction for prosperity and great fame. So this is the direction your back would face if you were a trigram 1 for productivity or for work. For me, it is the Northwest. I actually happen to have my office in the Northwest, and this year has been amazing for me. The East is the best position for in this instance for great health. So this will be different for everybody. This is the position for great health and good fortune. It's great for when you're eating. So you would sit with your back to the east if you're eating. This is the best location for family harmony. So sitting on the couch to watch TV. And then the best location for your sleep. So where possible, you would have your head in the north direction. Now, this is where people go a bit cray-cray about, I can't get my bed in the best position. So what? We can work with what we've got. Unless we're knocking the house down, rebuilding it, there's really nothing we can do about it. So we do the best we can. If we've got 4 to choose from, there's 8 different directions. The chances are you might be able to get it in one of these positions. So if you can't get it in your best, then you try the other 3. If you can't get it in any of them, then it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But that's one of the biggest questions is gets asked about, I can't put my bed in the best position. So we just need to put it in the best position in the room where possible. So I'll just leave that there if anyone wants to use the QR code to download my trigram guide so you can discover what trigram you are. So when you go to do this, it's based on your birth date. So if you're born in January or up until about the 3rd of February, your trigram will be the previous year. So if you were born on the 1st of February in 1978, you would actually be 1977. That would be your trigram. That would be your year. So you would need to look up what the trigram for 1977 was. If it was on the 3rd of February, it would be 1978. Again, reach out if you've got any questions. Also, parts of the home will dictate who it benefits in the family. And this is really important, obviously for bedrooms where we're going to put people and what is in those in those areas that might be affecting those people in your family. So The south is the fame and reputation area. It dictates how you're seen in the world, and it affects the middle daughter. So if you've got an area in the south of your home that is really, really cluttered, and your middle daughter is really struggling, maybe not sleeping, then have a look in the south and see what needs decluttering or if anything's out of balance. The west, it affects the youngest daughter, and that's your children and creativity area. Again, if things are affecting your kids, look in the west and see what's going on. The northeast is your knowledge and cultivation, your spiritual center. It affects the youngest son or the youngest child. The east is the family and community area, and it affects the oldest son. The southeast is your wealth and abundance, and it affects the eldest daughter. The northwest is the travel and helpful people area, and affects the head of the home, and typically that would be the patriarch or the husband, grandfather, whoever's the head of the home. And the southwest is your love and relationships, and it affects the matriarch, so the lady of the house. Um, so just be aware, this is, whatever's happening in those areas, it could be affecting the person um, that lives in the house. And again, this is really important for sleep. So let's move on to the parental stuff, the private stuff, the fun stuff. It's well documented that there are some contributors to relationship breakdowns. Money and kids are the top two. Now, there are things you can do to bring more joy and harmony into your relationships, starting with your bedroom. So the master bedroom is for three things: sleep, sex, and relaxation. And the number one complaint I hear from parents is that their children will not sleep in their own beds. Now, this ends up having an effect on intimacy, which will have a knock-on effect on the relationship. So typically this is caused by two things, or possibly three things. Kids' room is out of balance. The master bedroom is inviting the children in. And the third one would be that boundaries are not being set. So I would always say, if you want your kids in the bed, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you you cannot have your children co-sleep with you. That's completely up to you if you want to do that. But if it's at a stage where you want your child to sleep in a bedroom, consistency is going to be the key. You need to keep taking that child back to their bedroom. You don't get out of the bedroom and go and sleep in their bed. You take them back to their bedroom. But if it keeps happening and you can't work out why, there's an imbalance in the kid's bedroom. And that's what we need to fix. But if you're inviting them in, it could be because you've got photos of your children in the bedroom. Now, if you've got photos of your children in the bedroom, or photos of other people in the bedroom, then that, if you like voyeurism, then that's fine. Have at it. I do not judge anyone. But the master bedroom is for you and your partner. It's not for you, your partner, and the kids. The rest of the house is for that. The bedroom is for you and your partner. It's your space. So remove all images of your children from the bedroom and replace them with images of you and your partner in a really happy time. So when I say a happy time, I mean like your wedding photo or the family photos you've had done with the two of you only in them. What I don't want you to do is put a nice photo of the two of you in the bedroom that was taken 5 minutes after you've had a rip-roaring row with each other, because that memory is still going to be with you in that image. Every time you see it, you're going to remember that fight, and we don't want that in the bedroom. So the east is the area of concern with the family. So place all your family photos there. Please don't. We're not really. It's not really a thing here in Queensland, but please don't place photos on the mantle above the fire, as it can create fiery arguments. And obviously, keep the space decluttered. Oh, there's the offer. I'll give you all that if you want that one. Yeah, I'll give you $60 off that. That's fine. I think the code's still working. I'll check that, but anyone that jumps on here uses the code, they can use it. Okay, and there's my contact details. So what I wanted to do we'll just give you some other examples of bedrooms and what not to do. I've got 3 screens going here, and it puts it on different screens. I'll just stop sharing and I'll share the other folder. Okay, so these were some video as well that I grabbed at some open homes the other week. Okay, so as you can see with this one, so this is actually a really good indication. So they've got lights above, like sconce lights on either side. They've got matching bedside tables. There is nothing above the headboard. So this is perfect. The room is quite neutral, and there's obviously area around the bed for both parties to get in. So this is actually a really good setup. This, out of all the homes I went to, this is one I walked into, and I could build this home and I'd be quite happy. So they,
Sorry, Susan, I don't think it's
yep.
showing for us properly.
Can you see anything?
I can see a grid of all your photos, and it's only a small the photo on the side.
Okay, hang on. Weird. Screen. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that there's nothing above the bed. You've got the wall sconces, matching bedside tables, and the room is very neutral. And you can get in around the bed on both sides. It's on a solid wall. This is the perfect setup. And when I go further, you'll see that they are not good at all. How I'm going to do this to, there's a couple I really wanted to show you were terrible. Preview. Actually, if I just do preview. Okay, that's going to work better, I think. All right, so and this one here is like images on the wall, more issues than Vogue. That's just inviting in things like mental health problems. So we've got to be very careful with that. And then there was this one that I found incredibly interesting in a bedroom. Was this one here. So I'm not really sure why this interiors person thought that putting 2 crayfish above a bed would be a good idea. Someone said to me, oh, maybe they took the line out of Friends, like "you are my lobster," as we'll put that. But I personally think seafood should stay in the kitchen. But then I actually Googled what the relationship between lobsters was. And it's a very one-sided relationship, to the point where it can be quite aggressive on one side. And then that was very apparent with how they set this room up. So there was only one bedside table, only one lamp, and this obviously above the bed as well, which I would never recommend. So we have to be very, very careful with our decor and what things we put in the room to and what it's actually going to bring in. So I would say if someone was actually, this is obviously a display home, no one's actually living in it, But I would say if this was in a home and it was a relationship, there would be a massive disparity in the relationship, and it would be quite problematic. The one thing I didn't go into in the bedrooms was about mirrors. This is a prime example of what not to have. Now, again, if you like looking at yourself, that's fine. Have the mirror. But if you're single and you're wanting to bring a relationship, your reflection from here is going to tell the universe that you've already got someone else in the room with you. If you are in a partnership, it can create affair energy. No one wants that. Again, the images they had on above the bed were pretty bad anyway. I'm not sure why you'd have them in a bedroom for any reason. But you don't want them above the bed. The neutralization of the bed is fine. It's got a solid bed head. Other than that, the bedroom's quite nice. But that was one thing that just immediately stood out. Why would you put a mirror at the end of your bed? And then we have this room, which is the kids' room, and was very interesting. Is it a video? Pretty sure it was a video. But this is a kid's room with these lines running across the ceiling. That's just creating massive pressure. And it would feel like a jail. It would not it didn't have a good feeling in there. So yeah, refrain from doing anything creative like that. Where are some others? There was another house I looked at as well. Um, okay. And a kid's bedroom. Which again, it was beautiful, but it had a massive mural here full of screeching animals, monkeys everywhere. That just generates noise, and it's not going to be a room that's going to create harmony and balance and calmness. So as pretty as it looked, the first thing I would do when I moved in would be rip it down. It's not going to be at all beneficial to you at all, to your kids. Then we moved into a master bedroom. And again, this is why I'm saying be really careful with how you style. There were these two masks on the wall in the master bedroom. We don't tend to want to use masks because that is giving the energy of hiding something. So would not recommend at all. And I'm really unsure why you would have those in a bedroom. They're quite scary looking. They're not something you'd put in there to be able to relax. And then on the bedside table, they had this spiky thing, which it just made no sense at all. Also, where possible, keep plants out of the bedroom. We don't want plants in there. They are active at night when you're trying to rest. So the energy is still quite frantic when you're trying to sleep. This is an example where you can have the bed on a solid wall next to a door. This is how my bed is actually set up. If you had to place your bed here, it would be a different story. The energy is coming in and it would be hitting you where you're sleeping. So this is a better option than this here. And this is really the only option in the room to put the bed. This wall was not big enough because there was a walk-in robe around the corner. So we have to work with what we've got. We have to be sensible about it and not be worried about what's going on. And then you've got this bedroom, which was also set up very, very well as well. So, who's got questions?
So you can feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions. and ask, or if you prefer to pop them in the chat, I can read them out. One thing I noticed is I did try to do the trigram QR code and it's not working.
Okay, all right.
So I can
I
send
will.
out an updated version of that.
Yep. Yep.
I have a question actually.
Yep.
I'm just wondering about dream catchers on overhead of beds.
Again, it's up to you. I'm not a fan of them because it's still something hanging over you. And add to that, they collect dust. I mean, I don't know how many people would actually take the time to clean them very often. So it's probably not something I would ever recommend. I don't see them all that often. I think they're actually supposed to go closer to the window rather than over the bed, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know a huge amount of it, but it's still hanging over the bed, so it's not something I would really recommend.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Questions about how your bedroom's set up or any other parts of your house that you want to ask Suzanne while she's here? Any of the things that she's mentioned that have got you thinking, aha, that's something I can change, please share with us, or any things that you're doing in your home that you're now realizing that's the right way to do it, and I'm going to continue. Share some thoughts with us. So I've got,
If not, that's okay.
yeah, I'm pretty
Well,
happy that I've got all wooden beds in my house. Oh, and each of them have solid bed heads too. So I'm like, great.
yeah.
That's a good
We'll say
start.
Les has got lots of things to change. Probably less than what you think, Les.
I've got two boys that don't stay in their room and they've got blue sheets. So that's going to be one of the first things that I'm going to change. I'm going to change the sheets on their bed.
Yep. Perfect. I mean, it could be a number of things. It could be their bed position. It could be something else. It might just need balancing.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like there's any other questions. So thank you so much, Suzanne, for coming on and sharing all that with
My
us.
pleasure.
So it is recorded. So if it was a lot of information and you want to revisit, I will send out the link so that you can rewatch at any time. And all the contact details are there. So reach out to Suzanne if you make some changes or if you're not quite sure of what you're doing. She does have that Facebook group that you can join as well. And our next sort of episode in the Sleep Well, Live Well series is next Friday. And that is with Dr. Karina Patel and Sarah Beach. And they are dentists who are going to be speaking specifically about how to identify sleep breathing disorders in children versus adults. So looking at all different aspects that might be preventing us from getting enough quality sleep and what those sort of key indicators are and what we need to be doing about it. So thanks for joining us. We will see you hopefully next week, and please reach out and ask any questions as they come up. Have a good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
Holly.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.